this young man. His name is Jerome Boyce. He's a student at Shaw University in the US. Good morning to you, Jerome.
Hi, good morning. How are you doing today?
I am doing well today, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well.
That's good to hear. Now listen, they're telling me that you are known as Mr. Shaw University. What does that mean?
Yes, sir, I am. So Mr. Shaw University is basically the face of the university. So he's a part of the Royal Court, which is a department of the Student Government Association. So I'm basically the figurehead of of the university, and I represent the school. I'm basically the face of the campus. I represent the school at major events during homecoming, in front of the school's e-board, and also in front of the president and other alumni.
So how did you attain that position?
So before becoming Mr. Shaw, I served as Mr. Juniors, where I served as the representative for the junior class. But before that, I was interested in, in Student Government Association, and I wasn't necessarily interested, in becoming like royalty, but I did like college runway and stuff when I was at Arts College. So I decided, I'll give it a shot.
And so far, so good. Now, like any other student, you could have gone to university, kept your head low, focused on your studies, and just move on to the end. But you instead chose to get actively involved in the life of the campus there. Where do you think that interest in that kind of work came from?
I believe it came from, so I would go back to my freshman year. It started with my friend Ian. He's from the Bahamas, and he was in the school band. And I was a student athlete. I ran cross country and I played soccer for Shaw University. And we were often saying, like we just do our respective sports and then we just go to class. And we wanted to do something more than that, just to play our sports and then go to class. So we started the Shaw International Students Association. And that is what really kick-started it all, because he's now the current student government president. I'm now Mr. Shaw University. That's what really kicked it off. And then from there, I joined Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, where I'm now serve as the chapter president for the Beta Road chapter. And then, went on to all the other accolades I listed, part of Chi Alpha Sigma, Honor Society for Student Athletes. I'm also a part of the Shaw University Honors College. And the list goes on. Like, that is what really kickstarted it. We had that conversation freshman year. We said, you know what, we want to do more than just go to school and play our sports.
Wow, you're becoming a more rounded person. That's fantastic. So you're studying, what are you studying? What are you going to be majoring in?
I am majoring in computer science.
Why computer science?
This is actually a funny story as well. My parents always told me that from the time I was a little kid, I could work the VCR before I could walk. So technology was always in my blood. I always had a likeness for tech, and I believe that was my passion. So when I came through Harrison College and stuff, and I started learning about computer science and we started coding and stuff, I said, you know what, this is something that I'm actually pretty good at, and that's where my love for computer science really started.
When the other students heard your accent, I'm sure they stopped for just a moment and thought, who are you? Where are you coming from? What kinds of questions, how inquisitive were they about the way you sounded?
They actually were very inquisitive. A lot of them used to mistake me for being Bahamian because we have a big Bahamian population at my school. I'm the only Barbadian on campus, for the exception of second generation Barbadian, but I'm really the only Barbadian on campus. So my freshman year, everybody used to ask me, "Oh, which part of the Bahamas you're from?" Like, I'm not from the Bahamas. I'm from Barbados. Yeah, so that was the thing. But there are like a couple other Barbadians in my area, at some other universities close by. So now that they're here in the area, it makes it a little easier to say, "Hey, I'm from Barbados. Do you know this person from that school? They're from Barbados too." So it makes it a little easier.
How is it though settling in, being the only Barbadian, and something, because that's natural as a human being, we want to herd, and when you look around you don't see someone who sounds like you. It feels a little off-putting. How is it for you settling in?
It does feel a little off-putting. However, Shaw University is the first HBCU in the south of the United States. So it is a historically black campus, and it makes it a little easier on the eyes when I walk around campus and I see people who may not sound like me, but who look like me. And that helped me settle in as well. Before I came to the United States, my aunt, she also went to HBCU, And before, she's like, if you come to the United States to study, you have to go to a HBCU. And at the time, I didn't understand. But now that I'm at a HBCU, I completely understand why she said that. Like the culture and everything, it's just it's just so much to to explain in just a short space of time. But that's what really helped me settle in, like the HBCU culture. You know, it's like it's a lot of different things that basically make up the HBCU Black experience that I would say has helped me settle in.
So you've left Barbados. How many years have you been there now?
This is my fourth and final year.
Your fourth and final year. So now for 4 years, you've immersed yourself into this American culture. And so what differences about you have you recognized?
Um, I've actually realized that you know, sometimes we have a little culture clash because I guess we, like you would say, we're raised different here than we are over here. Um, I've come to learn a lot about myself. You know, I've come to realize that also that we're not much different. You know, that we all sometimes have the same quote unquote black struggles and stuff like that. I've come to have more so, like, you know, before we used to have a certain view about maybe a certain view about Black Americans, but it's helped me remove my bias. You know, like being immersed in this culture, I realized that, you know, like we're really all the same. That's something that I really realized about myself. You know, I'm no better than anyone else. Like we're all really the same in this world.
You were here naturally. And, you know,
Yes, sir.
you smile because you know where I'm going with this. If you were here, you would have had a different response from how you were accepted there. What did people say to you when they saw you here for the first time and the way you choose to wear it?
Actually, they used to say that they love my hair. Like I said before, it's a HBCU. Like black culture is the biggest thing on the campus. So it's like you can see people walking around with braids, people walking around with locks, flat tops, short cuts, bald cuts, dyed hair. Like it's not like hair is making like, you know, like an expression of themselves as well. So, you know, to me, if they see my hair, they say, "Oh, I love your locks." Or before I started locking my hair, I had twists. So they say, "Oh, I love your twists," and I said, "Oh, thank you." Like it was never the case like um oh, your hair is so long, XYZ. Like they loved
Mm.
it, and it was the norm around campus to see it.
We hear nowadays so many horror stories coming out of the United States about how people of color are being treated by law enforcement officers. Have you ever experienced any kind of disparity in the way you're treated versus how other people are treated at all by any law enforcement official?
I can't say I have personally, not directly. I remember my freshman year, my previous advisor, he took us downtown to watch a movie, and I remember we were walking back to campus because the school is like in the middle of downtown Raleigh, and I remember this police officer drove by, but he drove like pretty slow. Like when he saw like, just like, the group of us walking, and like my advisor, he was a white guy, of course. He had to wave to them and say, "Hey, like, are you guys okay?" And then afterwards, you know, he was going on that rant. Like he can't believe the police officer slowed down. That's probably like the closest thing I ever came to, you know, experiencing any kind of racism from a police officer, I would say. I've been very fortunate because I've seen it happen around me.
Well, you're very fortunate indeed. Now, you are there, and for 4 years you've been there, and I'm sure keeping up with what's happening in Barbados also might have affected your perspective on who we are as a people in Barbados. What do you think you know differently now about the Barbadian spirit that you perhaps didn't know if you were living in Barbados?
I would say that Barbadians are an extraordinary people and that we are strong. I would say that we are very strong. Watching how we have reacted to the COVID-19 pandemic versus how people over here have reacted, I would say that we are also very disciplined as well. You know, there are little hiccups every here and there, but for the most part, we have kept COVID under wraps mostly. And I'm very proud of us. Like, I've realized that Barbadians are a very disciplined people. I'm very, very proud people. Like, you know, like watching here and talking to some of my classmates and stuff, and they're saying, "Oh, I don't believe they're trying to put us back on a curfew, or they don't want us to go to these large gatherings." And I'm saying, like, guys, do you not understand the severity of the issue? But back home, it's like you said that to people back home. They say, "Okay, we understand. We in this together." So it's
Mhm.
like it's just the difference in that alone makes me understand. You know, that Barbadians are very, very vigilant and very, very strong people.
Well, that's good to hear. Now, you are a student of Harrison College. What was your primary school?
I went to Erdison Primary and then it went on to George Lambing Primary.
Erdison, George Lambing, on to Harrison College. And where in Barbados are you from?
I'm from St. Thomas, Cane Garden.
Okay, in Garden said I was waiting patiently for you to tell me that. So, okay, because a lot of them know that are watching this morning, you say, look at Jerome. Jerome is such a nice young man now. He's grown up and he's all the way over there doing well for himself. So, Jerome, how do you deal with being Barbadian and wanting to remain Barbadian and eat the Barbadian way, that kind of thing? How do you manage that?
So luckily there are a couple of Barbadians in my area. In my freshman year, there were a couple that used to be, so that used to be at St. Augustine's University. It's like 5 minutes away. There was like Tia Donna Jones and some other sprinters. Bert Hart Ellis Jr., he was around the corner for me as well. And then now there are some new Barbadians who are also at St. Augustine University. They're running track and some of them playing volleyball. And that helps me, sometimes I'll go visit them. We'd hang out, remember some of his Independence Days we would spend together. So just little things like that help, keep the bond. During August, there used to be like a quote unquote carnival, Raleigh Carnival here downtown. I remember I was downtown one time and I saw, I think it was Barbadian Tourism Authority giving out Shirley biscuits. So that helps too. That helps too.
Of course, you got in line, right?
Oh, definitely.
That is wonderful. You are such an inspiring young man, Jerome. So what's your best advice to other young men your age right now who are determining what they want to do with their life? What would you want to say?
I would say to those little kids, never stop chasing your dreams, no matter what anyone may say. For me, coming through the Barbados Soccer Academy, I was never the best soccer player, but I was always the hardest working. And I believe that, the old saying, hard work really does pay off. So even if you may not be you may not be the best at something, but hard work beats talent. So I like to that little kid out there, I want you to look at yourself and say, I may not be the best at this, but I'm gonna work my butt off. I'm gonna work hard.
Well done.
I'm gonna be determined and I'm gonna achieve my goal. I'm gonna achieve my goals.
That's all right, Jerome. I understand. Thank you so much, Jerome Boyce, for joining us this morning. We want you to know, Jerome, for us, you are one of our exceptional young people. We'll continue to support you from here. I know once you finish your studies there, you're going to fly over the world, really doing great things. So we want to thank you so much, all right?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Jerome Boyce is his name. He's Mr. Shaw University. Time for us to take a look at now at our good decision of the